Hello, it's Saturday night, and I've never done this, but I wanted to say something, and hopefully Instagram saves this, because I think this is a really important message. That kind of thing. Olivia's live. I needed to say this. This is an important message, and it's something that I've been saying in the press a lot, but it actually hasn't been picked up in the press, and I really needed to get this out there because I think it's an important part of the whole campaign that we're doing. Is that since I've been talking and speaking up about women and voting, and the whole concept of the It's Your Vote campaign is that it's your vote. It is nonpartisan, right? The campaign is nonpartisan, and we just want women especially, but all people to know that it is their vote and they don't have to tell anybody who they voted for. That being said, the interesting part of the campaign and the interesting part of this whole conversation is from the moment my tweet went viral. And again, the original tweet was nonpartisan. If you read the original messaging we put out, it's talking about the fact that you can vote across party lines. If you're a registered Republican, you can vote Democrat. And if you're a registered Democrat, you can vote Republican. None of the information that we originally put out there was for any particular party. It was just to remind people that it's their vote. They can vote in any way they want. That being said, I think it's really interesting that most people assumed which party we were talking about, which we weren't talking about that in particular. And actually, the questions that I got from women were not about one party. I didn't even know who they were voting, like what party they were voting for. The original questions I got from women were, can my husband see who I voted for? These were people from Instagram. I did not know their political affiliation. And I had a couple people today on Twitter who were kind of angrily questioning me, saying, well, do you put this out there for Democrats and Republicans? And I'm like, the campaign is nonpartisan. The It's Your Vote campaign is a nonpartisan campaign. But here's kind of the interesting thing, is that people assumed we were talking about one party, which we were not. And secondly, I do want to talk about one party for a second because of this. The It's Your Vote campaign and all of the messaging we're doing is for all people, okay? But I wanted to narrow down to women for a second and talk about women. And I especially want to talk about women who are maybe of an older generation, right? There may be women that were registered Republicans and are registered Republicans and voted Republican for 50, 60 years, right? These are women that voted for Bush and voted for Republicans for their entire life. Probably a lot of these women voted Republican because their father voted Republican and then their husband voted Republican. And let's be honest, the Republican Party has changed a lot in the last 20 years, the last 10 years, the last 8 years, right? It's changed a lot. The rhetoric has changed, the behaviors have changed, the emotions have changed, the people have changed, right? And it's not the same people. It's not the same Republican Party that it was and has always been known to be. And so a lot of older women who have voted Republican for their whole life may not choose to be voting Republican this time around. And they have been married to men for 50, 60 years that they've always voted Republican together. And in these cases, we're not talking about domestic violence. We're not even talking about voter intimidation. We're just talking about women who are choosing to do something different for themselves, for their future, for their children, for their grandchildren, for Mother Nature, right? And they may not want to share that information with their spouse because that's going off the plan that they've always had. That's doing something different. And when you've done the same thing that you've done for your entire life and you get more information and you see things shift in front of you and you maybe have different people talk about things with you and you're watching different things and hearing different things and studying different things, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay. And we just want those women in particular to know it's your vote. You don't have to vote the same way that your spouse does. And you don't have to tell them. And you don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to tell your sister or your mom or your best friend. It's your vote. And women have worked really, really hard. Women have died for our right to vote. Women have bled for our right to vote. It was not like a gradual, beautiful journey for women's rights to vote, right? So it's important, I think, to remember that when we're talking about it's your vote, and you can vote across party lines, and you don't have to change your political affiliation to vote, we're saying that for a reason, and it's because people were confused. People are confused. Every single time we talk about this, people have questions about it, which is a beautiful thing. And something that Jenny and I do really well is create information for people, aggregate information and create resources for people that are easily accessible and easily understandable, right? So if you go to votewithoutfear.com, we answer some really basic questions like, what if I'm anxious about finding my polling location? What do I do if the voting, if the polling locations close while I'm waiting online? Can I bring my kids with me to vote? All of the information on votewithoutfear.com is nonpartisan, and we deeply encourage everybody to vote. And it's interesting because we've had a very interesting reaction from influencers and celebrities and educators to being invited to this campaign. And some people did not want to join the campaign because they don't necessarily believe that certain people should have the right to vote. And we very much believe that all people in America have, that is your right. You're right. It is your right to vote. You have one vote. You should use it for however and whoever you want to use it for. And all we're saying is you get to use that right to vote, and you don't have to tell anybody who you voted for. And that you can vote across party lines in a general presidential election without changing your political affiliation for your registration. And a lot of people didn't know that. And it is confusing. What's a provisional ballot? That's confusing. How can I ask for one? It's confusing. All of that information is on votewithoutfear.com. And it is for everybody. It is not just for women. It is not just for Democrats. It's not just for Republicans. It is for everybody. And I highly, highly, highly recommend calling the hotline, the It's Your Vote hotline. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it is on my Instagram. And I just wanted to say that it is for everybody, but a lot has changed in the last 20 years. And I think when we're talking about voting, we have to remember it's everybody. It's not just young people voting. It's not just old people voting. 18 and up, 18 to however old, you get to vote. It's your vote. So that's all I wanted to say. If you have questions, you know where to find me.